Welcome to our next lesson. We are still dealing with the numeration system that we were talking about, numbers. We are going to look at the counting recycling, and we are now in lesson 2. Alright. You remember all these symbols? We got to know this. How, as a revision, how many groups of 10 do we have here? 2. How many groups of 1 do we have here? 1. And how many groups of 100 do we have? We have 1. So we have 1, 2, 1. Of course, this is what? 121, as we learned the other day. This 1, 2. How many groups of 10 do we have here? We have 5. And how many groups of 1 do we have here? 1. So 100 and 501. Alright. It's just here for revision purpose. For revision purpose that we had 1000. What we are going to do next is, we just mentioned it the other day in our previous lesson. We just mentioned the numbers as it were. So what we are doing next is, how many group of hundreds, 100 do we have here? Do you see our symbols, the green? How many do we have? We have 1. So we see 1 times 100. Then, how many groups of 10 do we have? We have 2. Then 2 times 10. How many groups of 1 do we have here? We have 1. So 1 times 1. We are not doing anything too different from what we learned in our previous lesson. So pay attention and look at it. We are carrying ourselves gradually. Mathematics is being brought into your life in the simplest way. Just take time. You may know these things already, but you might not have understood it, what it actually represents. So take time and follow the lessons. We are climbing small, gradually. We are moving on. Okay. So the figure there represents 121. We already know. How did we get that? That is what we are going to arrive at. So we have 1 times 100, 2 times 10, and 1 times 1. So from left to right, we are going to have 100. 20, then 1. So we are going to sum this. Let's bring the addition sign between them. But in order to avoid confusion, we just want to group them as they are represented. So let's put brackets around them for them to look well organized. Let's put brackets around them. Good. So we realize that they are there. The 100, the 10s, and the 1s. Now, let's put addition sign between them. Good. So we have this. 1 times 100. What is it going to give us? It's going to give us 100. 2 times 10. What is it going to give us? It's going to give us 20. 1 times 1 is going to give us 1. Alright. So we have 100, 20, then 1. Let's look at addition. We have 100. When you get a number or numbers that we are going to add, the one with the highest number of digits. When I say highest number of digits, you realize that we have 100, we have 20, then 1. 100 has 3 digits, 20 has 2 digits, and then 1 has 1 digit. So write the one with the highest digit first. Alright. Then the next number with the next number of digits. If all the digits are equal, no problem. Let's group them. So the 0 is in the ones position. Remember that we had 2 groups of 10 remaining 0. So 0 ones. So when we start from left to right, we have ones, tens, and the hundreds. This is not new to you. Remember our previous lesson. So we have ones, tens, and then hundreds. Remember the pot. We had that. We realized that there was only one pot in the box. How many groups of 10 could we get out of that pot? We said 0. So we wrote 0. And the remainder was 1. So we wrote 0, 1. Until we get one group of 10 remaining 0. So we have ones and tens. So the 20, the ones is 0. What is the tens? The tens is 2. Alright. Now the ones, of course, the ones is 1. We put it here. We can decide to put 0 to the left of 1. Meaning there is 0 group of 1. It's not important, but we can decide to do that. In the same way, the 20, we can decide to put 0 to the left of the 2 to mean that there is 0 hundreds. But all these things are not important. We don't need them. Okay. So, after we've done this arrangement, let's look at another thing again. The 0 that we've just written represents the last 0 of the 100. Then the 0 of the 20, the 1 of the 1. When we add this, what do you get? These 3, when we add them, what are we going to get? 0, green 0 plus orange 0 plus blue, the 1. How do you get? What are we going to get? We are going to get 1. When we add the 3, we get 1. 0 plus 0 is 0. 10 plus 1 is 1. Okay. Let's write the next digit. This 0 which we just written is the next 0 of the 100. That is from right to left. The next 0. Then 2. The tens of the 20. The 1, the blue, the ones, it doesn't have tens. It's not up to one group of 10. We can decide to bring 0 there. We can decide to leave it 2. Okay, so 0, 1. When we add 0 to 2, what do you get? 2 plus 0, we get 2. Okay. 2. Then the next is the hundreds. There is no other tens. So what is in front of the 20 is 0. What is in the front of the 1? There is also 0. But we can decide to bring 0 there. Like this. Okay. When we add 1 to 0, we get 1. We add the next 0, we get 1 again. Then here is our answer. 1, 2, 1. You already know this. We've written it already. But we are carrying ourselves to this small level again. That will enable us to be able to write the numbers in words and figures. This short lesson is all about us knowing the place values in the numbers so as to be able to mention or call the names of numbers. Okay, so we are going to have 1, 2, 1 as you see. Alright, let's move on to another thing. So we say 121. We already know it. Excuse me. Alright. Here, you know the symbols already. But we've brought them as a guidelines. So Yeah, we are going to use multiplication sign, and one of them is waiting for us there. We want to remind ourselves that we are dealing with the multiplication sign. Okay, how many 10,000s do we have? We have 2 of the 10,000s. So 2 times 10,000. How many thousands do we have there? We have 4. So 4. Okay, let's put them into brackets first. So 4 times 1,000. Alright. Our brackets again. Don't forget them. How many 100s do we have there? We have 1. So 1 times 100. Okay, don't forget your brackets. We want to organize them to nice group. How many of 10s do we have here? We have 3. So 3 times 10. Okay, our brackets. Don't forget them. Then, how many ones do we have here? We have 9. Okay, so 9 times 1. Alright, don't forget your brackets. Okay, so the first one, what is going to give us? When we have 10,000s, 2 of them, how do you get? You are going to get 20,000, then 4,000, then 100, then 30, then 9. Excuse me. For hard code, but still we have to have this lesson in order for us to meet the deadline. Excuse me. Alright. Remember the process that we were using. Remember the process. So we have 20,000, the 4,000, the 100, the 30, and the 1. Now, you remember how we went about the addition. So, we have the zeros. The 0 from right to left. Then the next one is the 0 of the 30, the orange. Then the 1s. Good. When we add all these, all of them are not significant, only the 9. So we are going to have 9 for it. Please note, this is what we call the expansion. We shall come to that again. We are expanding the number. We are expanding the number. Then, the next one, you know, the 3 of it, then 0. Here, I want to make the number of digits equal 4. So here, what it means is, the 9, 0 tenths. That's it. Okay, the next one. You see, when we add them, we are going to have 1, 0 plus that and that. And we can decide to bring 0 in front of 30 to mean that there is 0 hundredths. And the same thing we can bring in front of 9. Alright. The next one, if you got into the thousands column, so we have 4. In the same way, we can decide to bring zeros as they represent. There are zeros of them there. Alright. Now, we've got into 10,000s, meaning how many tens of thousands do we have there? 10,000s. We have two 10,000s. So when there is nothing below it, so like that. Or we can decide to bring zeros there. So we have 24,139. Remember that I've kept on saying the last 3 digits of a number, we always mention it in me as if there is nothing attached to it. So 139 is 139. We will say that 24,139. And that is our final answer. 34,139. 34,139. Alright. You are going to have this exercise. We are moving on. Here we have 1 cube to represent 10. The other one cube represents 100. The other one cube represents something else. So what we are going to do is you are going to look at the exercises, the homework column and the rest, then you go about them. These exercises are there. You understand the way we use the colors and the symbols to represent the numbers already. Keep on sowing seeds that benefit others. Thank you for your attention.